Duck YouTube, welcome back to a new video with Rams fan YT. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a club which has fairly short history. I think we can all agree. But it is in Milton Keynes and MK Dons, and it has to be done to fill every club. So let's get into the controversial and embroiled history of MK Dons, who were formed in 2004 from the ashes of Wimbledon Football Club and began playing their football at the National Hockey Stadium under the guidance of Stuart Murdoch. But poor results would lead to his dismissal in November of the same year and the appointment of Danny Wilson in his place. The experienced Wilson was in charge during the Dons' most turbulent spell as a club, escaping relegation from League One on the final day of the season thanks to Gareth Edd's 84th minute winner against Tranmere Rovers. The following campaign, the Dons ran out of fight as they were relegated to League Two, and chairman Pete Winkelman replaced Wilson with Martin Allen as the man to get the Dons out of the basement division. There were promising signs early on for Allen's team, but for the second half of the season saw Dons fall into the playoffs, where they were eventually beaten 2-1 by Shrewsbury Town. Despite failing to get the Dons out of League Two, Allen caught the eye of Leicester City, and he was appointed as their manager in May 2007. Former Manchester United midfielder Paul Lintz arrived in Milton Keynes to take charge. In the same year, they moved into their new home, Stadium MK. Lintz's arrival in 2007 coincided with the Dons' most successful season, as they went on to win their first piece of silverware, the Johnston's Paint Trophy, or the EFL Trophy, by beating Grimsby Town 2-0 at Wembley, before going on to win the League Two title and clinching promotion back to the third tier. What's more, the Dons equalled the record of 18 victories away from home that season. Lintz's success caught the attention of Blackburn Rovers, and his departure to Ewood Park was quickly followed by inspirational captain Keith Andrews. The next in line at the helm of Stadium MK was Roberto Di Matteo, and the rookie boss guided the men from MK to their then highest ever finish, third in League One. But once again they missed out on promotion in the playoffs, losing on penalties in the semi-final to Scunthorpe United. There was a further change for the Dons in the summer of 2009, with Di Matteo leaving to take over at West Bromwich Albion, paving the way for a sensational return by Ince, who had departed after 4 months at Blackburn. But it was to be an ill-fated return for Ince, with the Dons unable to reach the playoffs, and that led to the former England captain resigning at the end of the season. His assistant Carl Robinson took charge of the final 4 games of the campaign, and despite the side being hampered by injuries and suspensions, the Liverpudlian was able to guide the Dons to a 13th place finish, and his work at the end of the season did him no harm, as he was promoted to manager just days into the close season. At the time of his appointment, Robinson was just 29 years old, making him the EFL's youngest manager. He appointed John Gorman as his experienced number 2, and their partnership, although off to a slow burner, would see the Dons reach the playoff semi-finals, only to be beaten by their rivals Peterborough United, leaving the Dons with the aims of reaching the championship at the 4th time of asking in 2011-12. The Dons started that season with a bang as they climbed to the top of the League One table by the end of August. In fact, the Dons spent the entire season in the top 6, ensuring they booked themselves another chance at promotion by reaching the playoff semi-finals for the 3rd time in 4 years. On the way, Robinson's side became the entertainers of the lower leagues, scoring more than 100 goals for the first time and earning rave reviews for their stylish brand of football. However, once again, the playoff hurdle proved too much for the Dons as they bowed out to a 3-2 aggregate defeat to Huddersfield Town. Assistant manager Gorman retired from coaching at the end of the season, but Robinson showed great ambition as he appointed Mick Harford as his number 2, with former England and Arsenal striker Ian Wright joining as a first-team coach ahead of the 2012-13 campaign. The Dons continued to create history as they reached the fourth round of the Emirates FA Cup, beating rivals AFC Wimbledon and Queen's Park Rangers in the process for the first time. Despite their success in the FA Cup, the Dons failed to reach the League One playoff places for the first time in 3 years. Robinson opted for a change to his backroom staff ahead of the 2013-14 season, appointing the experienced Gary Waddock to the position of head of coaching, with Harford and Wright both departing. However, a number of injuries to key and influential players prevented the Dons from finishing in the top 6 for a second consecutive season, despite some impressive come-from-behind victories and memorable individual performances, in particular from 17-year-old Dele Alli in his first season as a professional, and midfielder Ben Reeves, who collected 4 awards at the end of season ceremony. Robinson was once again forced to reshuffle his backroom staff following Waddock's departure to Oxford United, appointing Richie Barker as the new head of coaching in June 2014, following a short stay as an assistant to the Liverpudlian for the final 6 games of the previous season. In their first full campaign together, the tandem of Robinson and Barker led the club to its first ever promotion to the Sky Bet Championship. The Dons, who totalled a whopping 91 points and scored over 100 goals, finished the season in second place after a dramatic final day in which they needed to win and hoped rivals Preston North End failed to beat Colchester United. Robinson's men thrashed Yeovil Town 5-1 at Stadium MK, while the Lily Whites were beaten 1-0 by the U's in Essex. The campaign will be fondly remembered, not only for promotion, but the real emergence of teenager Ali, whose incredible form earned him a move to the Premier League outfit Tottenham Hotspur. Loanees Benika Fobe, Will Grigg, and Lewis Baker also made impressions during their time at Stadium MK. The Dons enjoyed a dream start to life in the Championship, winning their first match in the second tier 4-1 away at Rotherham United. However, after a disappointing second half of the season, the men from MK were unable to retain their status, and in late April, their fate was confirmed. Robinson and his side endured a difficult start to their first season back in Sky Bet League One, and with the team lying perilously close to the relegation places in late October 2016, the decision was made to part ways with the Liverpudlian after a 6.5-year spell. Head of coaching Barker took temporary charge of the side for a short while before former Heart of Midlothian boss Robbie Neilson was appointed as the club's 7th manager in early December. In his first 2 home matches in charge, the Scotsman led the Dons to victories against fiercest rivals AFC Wimbledon and former boss Robinson's Charlton Athletic, and over the course of the next 4 months, guided them back into the top half of the Sky Bet League One table. Nielsen's MK Dons endured a slow start to the 2016-17 campaign, and were team lying perilously above the Sky Bet League One relegation places in January. Chairman Pete Winkleman parted company with the Scot and replaced him with Dan Mikichi, I don't know, the club's former head of academy coaching and an ex-England under-16s coach. Mikichi provided a spark towards the end of the season, but couldn't do enough to prevent an eventual relegation to Sky Bet League 2. Mikichi left the club in April, with Keith Millen taking charge for the final 3 games. Chairman Pete Winkleman conducted a thorough search during the summer of 2018, and it resulted in the appointment of Paul Tisdale, an experienced manager who had spent the past 12 years with Exeter City. Tisdale's arrival, along with some notable signings, had MK Dons fans feeling optimistic for what the 2018-19 season could bring, and they quickly sought about fulfilling that expectation, racing into a top 2 place by November. A difficult winter period, though, saw the Dons slip out of the promotion places until a terrific late run and a dramatic last day 1-0 victory over Mansfield Town saw Tisdale's side return to second place and secure an immediate return to the 3rd tier. Tisdale, however, would endure a tough start to life back in Sky Bet League One, and with the team occupying a place in the relegation zone, he would depart Stadium MK in November 2019. Chairman Pete Winkelman was swift to appoint Tisdale's successor, recruiting from within, with experienced defender Russell Martin trusted with the responsibility of guiding MK Dons to safety. Martin made an immediate impact at the helm, bringing back a familiar, attractive style of football to Stadium MK, as well as improving the results. His side climbed out of the relegation zone at the start of the new year and pulled away enough to secure their League One status on a points-per-game basis at the end of a curtailed 2019-20 season. MK Dons made a slow start to the following campaign, but a busy January transfer window helped inspire the side to pull away from relegation places and make a late push for a top-half finish, finishing as one of the division's most informed sides and receiving national attention for their impressive possession statistics. With momentum building ahead of the 2021-22 season, the Dons were forced to make major structural changes when Executive Director Andrew Cullen left the football club after 12 years to join Portsmouth. Liam Sweeting was appointed Sporting Director, and Simon Crampton took on the role of Performance Director, as Chairman Pete Winkelman opted for a new approach to take the club forward. One of Sweeting's first roles as Sporting Director was to replace Russell Martin, who joined Sky Bet Championship side Swansea City on the eve of the league campaign. Liam Manning was the chosen man as the club's first head coach. And he's doing pretty well, isn't he, in 2021-22, with him currently occupying the playoff spaces. I think it was 4th last time I checked, maybe wrong about that, somewhere in the playoffs around that region. So they're doing quite well, all things considering. But obviously it was going to be short, this video today. I mean, they've only been around since as long as I've been around as a person. So that kind of just proves that we can't have an extremely long video today. But we will, I don't think I'll be able to do a video on Friday. I may be able to squeeze it in on Saturday, depending on how I'm feeling. Maybe a run. I think I will be able to do a run to a football club, though, on Sunday. Pretty certain about that this week. And also the history of your club, Morecambe, who actually have quite a recent history as well. But goodbye for now.